Welcome to this explainer, everyone. Today, we're cracking open the Digital Detective's dossier. We're basically initiating a complete e-safety training protocol, and we're drawing from some absolutely crucial source material to do it. Now look, we're not here for some dry, boring textbook lecture. No way. We're treating this as an active, urgent mission. Because honestly, out there in the digital wild, you really do need to act like a detective to protect your identity, your data, and quite frankly, your peace of mind. Okay, let's dive right in. So here is the agenda for our mission briefing today. We're going to start by mapping out the e-safety ecosystem, then arm you with your legal shield, track your digital footprint, practice navigating the web, face some boss-level risks, and we'll wrap the whole thing up with a rapid 60-second audit. All right, Section 1, the e-safety ecosystem. Let's get our foundational setup going. Okay, we need to clarify something right out of the gate here. E-safety. It's not just about computers or firewalls or some complex encryption algorithms. Actually, scratch that. It's almost entirely about your behavior. The hardware you're using is rarely the main vulnerability. It's the human sitting right in front of the screen that we need to secure. So our primary goal here is behavioral integration. We're learning how to be a safe, responsible user across literally every platform, whether you're checking your inbox or jumping into your favorite online game. Now, let's map out the reality of being online using the e-safety triad. Think of this as 3 overlapping circles: benefits, risks, and responsibilities. Obviously, we all love the benefits, right? The instant data access, communication, sharing memes with friends. But those inherently overlap with the risks, things like malware, phishing, and privacy breaches. So the absolute crucial point is that safe usage, your responsibilities, is what keeps you right in that optimal, secure center zone. It takes critical thinking, verifying what you're actually looking at, and just maintaining ethical conduct. True digital citizenship is just a constant balancing act. Moving on to Section 2, your legal shield, specifically the Data Protection Act. Before we even talk about what you need to do, let's look at the defensive barrier that's already out there protecting you, the Data Protection Act, or DPA. Most countries enforce some version of this framework. Think of it like a massive, heavy bank vault door. That's exactly what this is. It's a digital bill of rights designed to ensure your personal information isn't misused or just held hostage without your permission. And get this, companies that break these rules, they don't just get a slap on the wrist. They face severe, real-world consequences, like massive fines or even prison time. So what exactly are these companies legally required to do with your data? Well, there's an 8-part protective shield that forms the legal framework for how your data is handled. Literally, every single piece of your data has to pass through these 8 filters. It has to be accurate, not excessive, kept within safe countries, and always handled according to your legal rights. But to keep things simple for our day-to-day operations, I want to highlight the absolute most critical rules from that shield. First up, your data must be processed fairly and lawfully. Second, it can only be used for the specific reason it was originally collected. So they can't ask for your email for a weekly newsletter and then just turn around and sell it to some shady marketing firm. Third, it has to be kept highly secure, meaning locked away or encrypted. And fourth, this is a big one, no lingering data. The second they no longer need your info, they are legally required to hit delete. All right, Section 3, your digital footprint. Let's talk about the evidence you leave behind. As a digital detective, it is absolutely vital to know exactly what you're putting out there because, well, not all data is created equal. On one hand, we have standard personal data. This is information that directly identifies you, your name, your home address, your IP address, or your date of birth. But on the other side, we have sensitive personal data. This is deep personal information that requires extra special care. Your medical history, your religion, your political views, ethnic origin. You need to be incredibly vigilant about where and how this sensitive category is stored or shared. And hey, don't forget the vulnerability of the physical-digital bridge. Picture a messy desk, papers scattered everywhere, a laptop sitting wide open and completely unlocked. That is a massive data leak just waiting to happen offline. The pro tip here is so simple but so essential. Never leave personal info lying around on a physical desk, and always log off your computer when you walk away. I mean, the strongest digital passwords in the world won't help you at all if someone can just walk right up to your physical keyboard. Okay, Section 4, navigating the web. It is time to initiate some field work. I want to pause here and challenge you with a kind of stark question. Would you ever walk up to a complete stranger on the street, hand them a piece of paper with your exact geographic coordinates, and just walk away? No, right? Of course not. But chances are, you, or maybe someone you know, might be doing exactly this online without even realizing it. Get ready for a pretty terrifying vulnerability we call the school uniform vulnerability. The warning here is critical. Never email or upload photos of yourself wearing a school uniform. Why? Because that tiny little crest on your blazer is essentially a GPS beacon. This one seemingly innocent detail gives predators and strangers the exact geographic coordinates to find exactly where you are 5 days a week. It is a massive clue. When you're posting online, you have to think like a detective and review your photos for background clues before you ever hit upload. So how do we actively navigate the web securely? Well, here's your fieldwork protocol. First, always look for HTTPS and that little green padlock symbol in your browser's address bar before you type in anything personal. That padlock, it means your connection is encrypted. Second, dive into your browser settings and make sure Safe Search is active to automatically filter out the harmful stuff. And third, just think before you click. Malware loves to hide inside free downloads, so only ever use sources you actually trust. Next up in our fieldwork is understanding the anatomy of a phishing email. The golden rule here is the known source rule. Only open emails or attachments from people you actually know. But attackers are clever, you know? They masquerade as real companies. You might see an email address in the from field like accountsupport@banksecureverify.com. It kind of looks official, right? But it's a trap specifically designed to steal your passwords. Here is your ultimate phishing alert. A real company like your bank or Netflix will never ever ask for your password or bank details via an email link. If you see that, delete it immediately, no exceptions. Let's move to Section 5, boss-level risks. These are the severe, daily threats. Social media is where most of us spend our time, so you need to literally weaponize your settings through a privacy firewall. First, use your privacy settings. Lock down your profile visibility so only friends you actually know in real life can see what you post. Check those toggles and make sure they're switched to on. Second, no public secrets. Never, ever post your house address or your phone number publicly. That is just a direct, paved pathway to identity theft. And third, treat the block and report buttons as your defensive weapons. If anyone is inappropriate or acts suspicious, do not engage. Just block and report them immediately. Online gaming is incredibly fun, for sure, but it has its own unique ecosystem of threats. There are 4 specific boss-level risks you really have to watch out for. Risk 1, predators. These are individuals who fabricate their identity and fake their age just to gain your trust. Risk 2, cyberbullying. Players using the chat or messages to intimidate and harass others. Risk 3 is particularly sneaky, voice masking. This is software used over voice comms to hide a player's real age or gender, making audio deception super easy. And risk 4, webcam risks. The rule here is incredibly simple. Never use a webcam with people you don't actually know in real life. Keep that visual exposure strictly locked down. All right, Section 6, the 60-second audit. This is our final assessment phase. Let's synthesize everything we've just covered into one really clear equation. True e-safety is an ecosystem. First, you have Input Module 1, your legal rights, like the Data Protection Act we talked about, which protect you passively. Then, you have Input Module 2, Data Control, which is you taking charge and using your privacy settings. And finally, Input Module 3, Behavioral Vigilance. This is your active detective work, like spotting those phishing emails or hiding location clues in photos. E-safety isn't just one of these things in isolation, it is the continuous intersection of all 3 of these forces working together. Which brings us to your actionable check-in. Here is your privacy exposure checklist. I want you to ask yourself these 2 questions right now. Number 1, do you currently use your real full name on a completely public profile? Number 2, can a total stranger scroll through your feed and see what school you go to, maybe from a uniform photo or a tagged location? Now, if you answered yes to either of these questions, your immediate required action is to log in and update those privacy settings today, like right after this explainer. Well, your training dossier is now complete. You know the legal framework protecting you, you know how to navigate the traps of phishing and social media, and you know the behavioral vigilance required to stay safe. But hey, knowledge is really only useful if it's applied, right? So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Is your profile actually secure right now? Don't wait for a massive data breach to find out. Become the digital detective of your own life. Log in and lock it down. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and please, stay safe out there.